Yeah. What I love about these recordings is all the stuff that doesn't go out before we click record.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't give that stuff
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators.
Off the case.
Welcome to Boo-Foons Off the Case. I'm Dan.
And I'm Steve.
And it's a Saturday. It's where we can relax a little bit and chill, have a little bit of a chat.
Let her hair down.
Yeah. And expect some silliness, some randomness, which you may or may not enjoy. Let us know. Let us know. Get in touch. Let us know. Are you actually enjoying these Saturday episodes or not? If you are, what do you like about them? If you're not, what don't you like about them? Let us know. Let us know.
Yeah. Can I let you know?
You can let me know.
I love it all, Dan. I love just spending the time with you.
Aw, thank you. However, right, you love spending the time with me. You love spending the time with me. Right. At the time of recording this, what did you go and do without me? Bearing in mind that we do paranormal stuff. What have you just been and done at the time of recording this that I wasn't there to do?
It's not my fault that I had to do it on my own. But
you cheated on me.
I did. I cheated on you, Dan. I cheated. I was unfaithful to you. I went on a ghost hunt on my own without you. I went on with a friend. Not you, but I went with a friend. Not my. It was amazing.
And today's Saturday episode is to announce the fact that the podcast from this point onwards is just going to be Steve, because I'm running away because clearly he wants to do stuff by himself.
Well, to be fair, I only found out about it a couple of days before the actual event. And I think we've stated before that you're about 260 miles away. And at the time, I think you were watching a football match in Nottingham. Nottingham. North. Where is it? Norwich?
Norwich.
Yes, Norwich. I don't begin with N. Yeah, so you actually were away. And you didn't ask me to come to football with you.
Yeah, I'm just doing some acting. Yeah. I'm not actually annoyed that you went on a ghost hunt. And
I'm not annoyed you didn't ask me to football, so that's good.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm glad you didn't come to football because Norwich lost and I was in a bit of a bad mood for a little bit of time. And actually, by the time this episode goes out, the football season's probably finished anyway. So,
and I imagine you did really badly. But I'm also glad you didn't come with me to the ghost hunt because, again, it was as successful as your football match.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yep. So, I tell you, right, it was. I want to get the guys who actually run it on the podcast, so I don't want to diss it too much. The thing is, we know that you cannot call for paranormal things to happen. So I will not say I was disappointed because there was nothing paranormal. So that's, I can't say, okay, did I just give it away that nothing paranormal ever that happened at all? There wasn't a sign of it. There wasn't a feeling or a creaky door. The only creakiness was with the crazy people who were there. And it was a real collection of, if you imagine, it almost was like what a Star Trek convention used to be like. The sort of unusual people that would turn up. It's like like an anime convention. That's it. That's what it would be like now. It's like so many different shades of hair. So many, there were people walking around with a crutch. There was, you got like a party of all the girls were coming along to see something spooky. There was the old timers who'd been coming for years, and one of them had his like anti-possession kit with him in case anybody gets possessed, that he can actually free them from a spirit. And he had all that stuff because he took it so seriously.
There was anti-possession kit.
Oh yeah, it's got all the stuff. So if someone gets possessed, he could bless them and expel the spirit from them. He looked like Derek Acora for a start, so I was convinced Derek Acora was there. He even wore like a fishing jacket, those like fishing waistcoat things with all the pockets for. He obviously had something in every pocket. There was like salt in one, there was bay leaves in another one, whatever it was. There was like pentagrams and everything you could think of he carried around with him, which was interesting. Barely heard him talk. It was very, very spooky, very mysterious. There was another guy there. This was his second time he'd been, and he didn't believe in ghosts, didn't believe in anything supernatural. But have a look at these photos of all the ghosts I've taken, all the pictures of that. I've only been on 2 ghost hunts, but look at this. There's a shadow figure in this one. It's like, you just told me a second ago you don't believe in it, but now you're showing me your whole library of pictures that you've taken.
Don't suppose he was called Sebastian and he's a friend of the show?
No, I was actually hoping he was going to listen to the podcast, get in touch so I could actually get him on and talk to him about the fact he doesn't believe, but here's all my photographs. Right. So it was, I forgot what the place was called. The Mill House. It was a lovely old pub on the moors, just on the boundaries of the moors. It was a nice old pub, ancient. There was a mining community that was near it in the old days, and apparently they used to be used. The pub would have rooms that were used to hold the dead bodies if people were killed in the mines, and they would have the inquest would be held there. The medical exam, they would come and check the bodies and see how they died and report on the inquest. It would all happen there. They'd have a room where they would store the bodies in, and people would examine them. And apparently that's the window from that room there. You can see people standing, looking out at you when there's nobody in the pub. We spent ages in the room, nothing at all. So there's all these stories about different pubs, the landlords who died. And my favorite bit was when it's like, I'm not going to tell you anything, the guy's running it. I'm not going to tell you anything about the ghost because I want to see if you can come back with anything from it. But the first 2 were called James, and there was a John, then there was a William, then there was another John, then there's another James, another John. See if you can come up with any of those names by yourself. You just told everybody what names to look for. To see if you detect them. What I did like though is that one of the guys who was hosting it said that he does all these things all the time, and they've seen such sights, just like like in Hellraiser, you see such sights to show you. There was a guy who used to run it with them, but he had to leave because he got possessed, and he's never been the same since. It's like,
so the anti-possession kit didn't work.
Well, he obviously wasn't. The guy wasn't there when he got possessed. Apparently, he's still possessed, and he never comes back, never does these things anymore because he's still too possessed. It's like, okay, and we got your word for it. Where's the evidence? There's got to be psychological reports. Let me see something of some sort of evidence that he's possessed. But then they're talking about things where they're being touched. And right. The guy who was running it, really good guy. Again, everybody was. It's entertaining. The night was entertaining. So again, I'm not going to say anything negative about it because it was still fun. There was only one person who kept being reported. Only one person who kept reporting he was being touched by people who weren't in the room and jumping. Oh, somebody touched me. Oh, who was it? And it was him, the guy running the thing. Nobody else.
This is sounding more like a convention where you have. Are you aware of the local character klaxon?
No, I'm not.
It's a social media term used for those strange local characters that you get in your area that you live. The ones where everybody in your local area know them, so they're a minor local celebrity because they're a bit of a weirdo. So considering you used to live in Bedford, we're talking Mother Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
The lady that used to march about Bedford chanting some sort of thing because she was protecting us with her Christian chants. Mad Bob, with his bike jumping out in the middle of the road to stop cars because apparently he needed to do that for whatever reason he possessed him. But that's the sort of thing that we're talking. That's the local character klaxon. It also applies to those, when you go to a pub and you've always got you know that this is a proper locals pub when you've got that little old man who's either sitting at the bar or sitting at a table by himself that nobody is going near because everybody knows that he's in there every single day and will say the exact same stories every single day over and over again, and it's that local character klaxon, and you also get them in like local newspapers, but that's what it's sounding like this is a convention of so far.
Oh yeah, that sounds it. It's funny enough, they're the people I end up sitting next to anyway in pubs. I always bump into people like that, and they get drawn to me. It must be my aura, but it was definitely there. It was
funny enough. That's how we met.
Yeah, there was the weird person where I was working, and it just drawn to you. That was it. Yeah. We were doing a Ouija board, and I volunteered to join in. Right, I didn't want to, but wanted to join in, and we got the what's it called, what's the thing called you get your fingers on again? It's
planchette.
Planchette. I keep saying a plectrum, which is completely wrong, even though it's the same shape.
I think it's planchette.
I think you're right. Yeah, planchette. Let's say we all had our fingers on it. I was sitting. There was two women there who were with me, and they both said, "Oh, we always get good things with this. We always manage to speak to spirits, and it's so good with us." So okay, so we're sitting there with our fingers on it. I've got my finger lightly on it, and there's me expect them to start speaking to dead, but there's just silent. They don't say a word. It's like, I thought you guys were good at this. You do this all the time, but they just didn't say a word. Okay, let's move it around a bit. So let's see if we sort of moving it around in like figure of eight. What expecting them to start talking to the spirits? Nothing. So I think the room was crowded with our whole half of the attendants there. So there's supposed to be 10, 11 people, including the guys running it. And eventually he goes, "Is anyone going to say anything?" And it's like, I'm not going to say anything. These two, they're the experts. So they still refuse anything. So then he started asking the questions, right? The guy wasn't even doing it because the others, the experts, weren't doing it. And then all of a sudden they're saying, "Oh, look, it's rising. The planchette's rising. It's going up." And I'm thinking, yeah, it's going up because the lady on my left is pushing it down so hard. She's trying to move it. And you got my finger on it, trying not to move it because she's forcing it. I can see. And then the other lady, she starts trying to push it the other way. They're both trying to make it speak and say things, but doing two different things. And I'm just in the middle with my finger lightly on top of it. And I said, "It's because you're pushing it that hard." Her fingertip had turned white. She was shoving it. That's not how it's supposed to work. So there was two other groups that tried it, and no one got anything. At the end of the day, somebody comes running downstairs. We're all in the main part of the pub. And this these two ladies run down. "Oh, the Ouija board was so active all a second ago. There was only us two in the room, but it was so active we had to turn it over." It's like, okay, so it was only active when it was just you two in the room. And there's camera. You didn't film it? No. Okay. What's it say? It said my name. Everybody, "Oh, I heard it. That said my name." Right. So that was just driving me mad. We went back up to the room, and none of the Ouija boards were upside down. So maybe the spirits flipped them back over the right way, but there was no sign of it. And there's the scrying mirror as well. They're obsessed. "Oh, the scrying mirror. You stare into that, and you can see demons. You can see people behind you. You can see shapes. Just stare at yourself in this black mirror." So it's basically just like a black mirror, and you can just about see your reflection. And they've got little candles flickering around underneath it. So you've got this light flickering on your facial features you could just about make up. Just keep staring at it.
What was Charlie Booker there?
I reckon that's where he got the idea from.
Yeah.
Because it's just your mind playing tricks. That's all it was. If you stare at in a normal mirror, if you just stand at a normal mirror and stare into it, your brain starts making shapes. It tries to make things happen. And they're saying, "Oh, there's somebody behind me. Oh, somebody touched me." No, they didn't. You're just staring into a mirror until your eyes start hallucinating. This is what your brain does. It's just like, okay, I'll let you carry on. And the worst one, right, was the spirit box. This is the one that really wound me up. So they got a spirit box. The idea of the spirit box, it's on like a FM or AM radio frequency, and it just goes through all the frequencies, scans for like a fifth of a second, goes on to the next one. It should normally be static, and if something from the other side tries to communicate with you, you can hear it pulling words out, and you can even sometimes hear a sentence because words will come out, or it can speak through those words. So it should be like an FM radio, just static words, which should answer your questions. Right. So The experiment here was you get blindfolded and you have these noise cancelling headphones on, and you're listening to the spirit box. One other person or other people will ask the questions, and you're supposed to hear the responses, but not the questions. So you're supposed to say out loud what you hear. So everybody's, they're saying like dead, die, drink, go away. Yeah, all these words come out when it's asking questions. None of them related to it. And the thing that this spirit box they were using, it didn't have any static, and it wasn't going through at 0. It wasn't going at 5 every second. It was like long words, but everything was playing backwards. Because my turn, so everybody else is picking words. Oh, it said my name. It said my daughter's name, my dad's name. Everyone's saying things like that, right? And it's like, okay, I've got to have a go at this. So I put it on, and the idea is I could still just about hear what was being said around me. So if I wanted to, I could answer the questions. But I got these headphones on, and the idea is I was supposed to say anything that I hear it say back. And I'm sitting there listening to it, and nothing. Not everything. There were just jumbles of backward sentences. It was so. For a start, we know it's not scanning the airwaves because it wouldn't be playing back the voices backwards, because that isn't what the airwaves would show. It was the gaps were a lot longer than a fifth of a second, and there was just nothing. So I sat there for about 5 minutes, not saying a word. And it's like apparently the friend I went with, he heard somebody saying he's not playing the game. Why is he not playing the game? It's like, well, because I'm waiting for it to say something. It didn't say anything. And so it just really frustrated me. Then the guy took as the leader. He sat down with it on and he did it. And he goes, oh, I felt it touch me. Oh, it said my name. Oh, it's never happened before like this. Oh, I can't do it anymore. It's like, it was almost like he had to escalate it because I sat there for 5 minutes and said nothing came through.
I was half expecting you to say that because it's a radio, that what ended up happening was you put it on and you suddenly heard, baby, where the hell is my husband? What is taking him so long to find me? And then suddenly you then heard, hard radio. That's what I was expecting you to say, is they had tuned it into an actual radio station as opposed to...
But this is the thing, right? I mean, it didn't even do that. It didn't pick up anything. So, do you remember when we went on the ghost hunt with Hitchin? The spirit box Cliff had, or whoever had it there, it was playing static. It was playing. The words were English. You could tell there were bits from talk radio or from radio, even though it didn't make sense. It wasn't saying anything, and when the questions were being asked, it would come up with more speech than not. It didn't make sense still, but it definitely was more speech. But there was nothing like that with this one. It felt like, even though it looked like a radio, it felt like it was the app we keep talking about that we're convinced is a scam. So to me, it felt like it was an app. It was programmed for this one thing, but there was nothing. So why did I not hear anything? And other people are saying all this stuff and their names. And I think what it is pareidolia. Pareidolia? Where you make patterns. Is that the right word?
I have no idea.
So where you're seeing, the brain makes patterns in abstract objects.
I've just Googled it, and yes, you're right. Pareidolia, yeah.
Pareidolia. So I think it's pareidolia.
Never heard that word. Never heard that word before, so I've learned something new today.
Yep. So what I think it's pareidolia. I think that they're hearing just stuff. They want it to say something, so it does to them. Whereas I sat there as an observer. I like to think of myself as an observer there because, again, I would definitely not say I believe everything. I think there's science we haven't, like we discussed before, there's science we haven't discovered yet. There's things we don't know yet, but I don't think it's ghosts as such. But who knows? It may be. But as an observer, I was sitting there trying to observe everybody and how they acted and how the thing ran, more as a bigger picture. But there was definitely people wanting to see stuff. They wanted to see shapes in the shadows. They wanted to hear things. They wanted the Ouija board to say stuff. They wanted to see things in the mirrors, and they were. And I think it's the idea of wanting to see it makes your brain see and hear it for you.
I think with you made a comparison to Hitchin. I think with Hitchin, the way that had been set up by Paul and Sanya, as a private event, totally private, where the only people that was there were fans of everything that Paul and Sanya do, and we were lucky enough to be invited along to that with a few other content creators. And we just went with this whole thing of, is there anything going to happen? Probably not. And we did end up with things happening. Whereas I think with these ones where it is general public, the ticket sales are out there. I think people do go. And we were saying this, well, Gannon was saying this the other day when he was with us, that there are people that expect the Ghostbusters style thing to happen, of a ghost just appear. I certainly remember when I was younger, the ghost walks, and I've spoken about this before on the podcast, the ghost walks that I did in Great Yarmouth, which is what got me into the paranormal in the first place. There were certainly people there that expected a ghost to happen, which is why the people leading the walk had a couple of people hiding in certain places where they jumped out of people, because people were expecting that to happen. So they put it in, and it was also quite funny watching people react to, like when we went to one. I think I've shared this story on the podcast before about the bit where we went, and apparently if you hear the fiddle playing, it means that you're a fool, because the devil's in. And actually hiding behind a wall was somebody that they had hired to sit and play the fiddle. And it was more for that humor aspect as opposed to that. But I think people do expect the Ghostbusters style ghost to jump out at you when you go on a ghost hunt. And that's what I quite like. And we need to get him on the podcast, Kevin. That ghost hunt walk, I know we did it separately, which I think is quite amusing, that I did it with your wife and then you did it by yourself. The ghost walk.
That's exactly what you meant, isn't it?
Yeah. I went on the ghost walk with your wife
and my daughter
and your daughter, and you went by yourself. So there we go. That was yeah. But when that ghost walk, the way that Kevin put that together, when he had his, what he called them, experiments, he didn't lead you into what would you do. It was more like that alleyway round the back of the distillery. When he says, walk around here, stop if you feel anything weird. And people all mill about and then all stop if they feel something. And then other people go, yeah, I didn't feel anything. And then he then explains what some people have felt in that area and why they felt it. And it was the way he put it together. He didn't do any of the subliminal messaging or that. He just sort of went, now we're in this area, can you feel anything? And then he told you the story afterwards.
Much better way of doing it. You don't go and tell people the story of the place, the names of everybody, and then ask them to detect things for you. But yeah, so sorry, you were going to say.
No, I was just going to add this, like the tea room, when you look through the window, and he says, when you look through the window, where do your eyes gravitate to?
The big mirror.
And the walk that we went, the walk that I was on, everybody but one person sort of said one direction and one person said another direction, and he goes, well, that's interesting, because most people actually get naturally drawn to that area because that's where a ghost has been seen. So nobody really gravitated towards that. That's interesting, isn't it? So again, it was that whole thing of, he wasn't trying to lead you on. It was more of a, here's the thing. Okay, it didn't work today, fair enough.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You stare into a dark room and somebody tells you something might be happening in there, or there might be some history, and their brain starts trying to make up shapes and patterns in the objects they see. And I think that's so much of it. I mean, it's definitely, I say, people want to see it. I think some people's imagination I like to think I've got a very good imagination, or at least I used to, but I've never seen things like that. I've never tried to see things in shapes and patterns unless I've been drawing. Sometimes it's great. How you draw? You start a picture by just making a shape, and then you got a nice silhouette. You can make that into what you want to make it. But in the silhouettes, so our brain is trained to look at silhouettes and see objects, and the same with sounds as well. You hear an unusual sound and then you just try to join it up. But this spirit box was just playing words backwards. And no, it was just, for me, it was just the whole thing was just trying way too hard and got nowhere. So I'm really glad you didn't drive 265 miles there and back. The chili was nice, though. There was some really nice chili we had to eat. So that was good.
I'll admit, now you've told me about your experience, I do feel better the fact that I didn't travel all that distance to come on that ghost hunt.
Extremely disappointed.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not. It's interesting though, because if you look at it from the psychological point of view of the people who are attending, if looking at them was far more interesting than the actual ghost hunt itself. Seeing the types of people, seeing how they responded and reacted, was far more interesting than the actual ghost. But also, again, we didn't say what the pub is called, and we're not going to say what the pub is called, but we did look it up, and I think, am I correct to say that no ghosts would ever mention there until COVID, until lockdown, when then suddenly at lockdown it becomes one of the most haunted places in Devon.
Yeah, so off the recording, we have looked at it and can't find any evidence until, like you said, these tours start up of anybody mentioning anything about ghosts.
Yeah, but next time, Dan, we've definitely got to do these things together. And I've got to stop you doing it with my wife and my daughter. And I must cut down the amount of times I'm doing it by myself. I'll go blind.
Sorry, Sandy, if you're listening to this. Well, you are listening to this because we know you listen to it.
We know you listen to this, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to leave this in, just a little treat for you.
Right, so what's next? What are we on to next?
This thing hit just now.
And what a wonderful thing it is.
Heard a song from him where I've gone, yep. Or I looked at a musical that he's been involved with where I've gone, yep. So that can be added to my start of the hate list, because you already have a hate list that just keeps growing that we can't keep check of. So my hate list is just Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yeah,
that's a good place to start.
However, that being said, as I said, I was at David yesterday for this barbecue, and when it started to rain, obviously we moved inside, and Louise put Britain's Got Talent on because she's somebody that watches that, and there was a dude on there who, to be fair, in my opinion, was the only one that seemed to have any talent, who sang Memory from Cats.
Mm-hmm.
And Simon Cowell, his feedback was, yes, you're a very talented singer.
You picked the wrong song.
You've picked the wrong song, and there's multiple reasons for that. One, it's a boring song. Two, I've heard that song so many times that it's now at the point where I just hate the song. And three, you are far more talented than the vocal range that song requires. So when in the next round, next time, if you get through to next round, next time you sing, you need a more challenging song that actually suits your vocal range. So his feedback was basically criticising Andrew Lloyd Webber as opposed to the actual bloke that stood on the stage singing.
I mean, I've never heard of. I mean, I told you about Cats when I took Sam to see Cats. He wanted to see it because he'd heard all the things about the film. And he wanted us to walk out after half an hour. And I refused to walk out, made him sit through the whole thing. And he's still fuming about that. And he was talking years later. It was
the closest I've got to Cats is one of my colleagues, his brother is a professional dancer.
Yeah. So he gets paid to.
Many years ago, He happened to be on land for a little while, and he got his brother to come in to do some dance routines for the kids in assembly. And the musical that he was in at the time doing some dancing was Cats. So he did a couple of the dance routines from Cats. And then the one that he had done before Cats is he had been in Tarzan. So he then, after doing a couple of dance routines from Cats, he then explained to children about Tarzan. Because he was a gorilla, he had to get into the mindset of a gorilla. So they actually paid for them to spend lots of time at the zoo just watching gorillas moving around, so they could actually get the idea of how gorillas move around, how they sit, how they walk, and that sort of thing. So then he could then come up with the idea of how to dance as a gorilla on the stage.
That's cool.
And then he sort of showed us how he was sort of like, how he learned how to walk on his hands, use his hands as feet and that sort of thing, and throwing himself around the stage like a gorilla. And he did it all in assembly, showing us his dance routine.
That's really cool.
Was
it cool? It was cool.
And then he also said that for that one, because obviously they're gorillas in a jungle, they did actually have to learn how to do, like the circus routine of all the ribbons and stuff.
Yeah.
They had to learn how to do that because they actually had ropes and ribbons hanging down from the top of the stage rigging to be vines in the jungle. So they had to learn how to do all the ribbon dancing and all the climbing up and down ribbons, so they could put that as part of their routine as well. So it was really interesting to hear how much actually goes behind the scenes to the, which I suppose obviously it makes sense because these are professional productions, and people are paying a ridiculous amount of money for. So of course there's going to be preparation, but you also don't really. I certainly didn't until talking to him and hearing him telling us about the behind the scenes. I certainly have never really appreciated how much effort goes in before they even get to the point of even practicing anything.
Because they spend these productions cost so much money, don't they, to run? The tens, if not hundreds of millions, some of them. But the thing about learning to dance as a gorilla is he could do anything because gorillas don't dance. So you don't have to worry about it. Walking around and moving around like a convincing gorilla is one thing, but dancing like a convincing gorilla is just, it's a bit, taking it a little bit too far. It's a little bit too far.
I bet Andy Serkis could do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's let everyone down at the moment, hasn't he? Apparently with his Animal Farm film.
Oh. Yeah, the Animal Farm film where they've gone completely against what the whole point of Animal Farm
was warning people about. Yeah. The dangers of communism.
Yeah, and instead it's turned into this weird sort of
anti-capitalist film.
Yeah.
Pro-communist film. It's like they did not understand that, like I say, Orwell wrote it as a warning. He was involved with, like I say, with the Fabian Society, with the Labour Party Foundation, with everything they planned to do with the world, and he saw it as a warning. Same as 1984, it was a warning. This is what's going to happen unless we do something about it. He left that. He left the Fabians because of it, because he saw it as so dangerous. But nobody. Let's make it an anti-capitalist film.
Yeah,
what tosser. Andy Serkis has lost all respect by doing that, and he made the decision to do that.
Yep.
These left-wing nuts and nutcases. Hey. But anyway, what can we do? People will be people.
Thank you for joining us this Saturday on Boo-Foons Off the Case. Yeah, these episodes are just a little bit mad, aren't they? But at least you've got our Wednesday episodes as our normal us talking about something strange and unusual to listen to, which will be the next episode after today's episode. Do go look at our social media accounts, do give us a like, a follow, and do leave some comments. Also share stuff. If you see a social media post that you like, just click repost or share it or send it to a friend, or even click like, leave a comment. It will help us on the algorithm as well. So that means that we will be seen by more people, which means hopefully more people listen to us, which means that we can do better quality and more content because we'll have more time to do it, more resources and better resources to do it. On that front, if you are feeling very, very generous, do go to our Patreon. You can donate as little as £1 a month, and it doesn't go to somebody getting water from a well. It goes to us making this podcast even better. For example, the costs of the website. The website actually costs us money to run. It helps us with that. Having the podcast and releasing it on all these different platforms, again, costs us money. So it helps towards that. But not only will you be giving us money to keep the podcast going, but we actually give you bonus content in as a thanks. So if you donate some money,
and that's more than you get from those people in Africa when you build them a well. You don't get anything from them.
Exactly.
At least we give you uncut videos.
Yeah, we give you uncut videos, we give you blog posts, we give you loads of exclusive content just for those that are on Patreon. Go to our website, loads of extra stuff there. Steve does an excellent job of putting more meat to the bones for the podcast. Lots of interesting write-ups on the website, all curated by Steve and written by Steve.
Sorry, Dad, I'm just going to say there's more meat on the bones of the website than there are on those African kids.
I'm glad this is a Saturday episode and not a generic Wednesday episode.
I'm going to hell.
And on the website, you will find a link to our Discord server where you can join and chat to us directly. Let us know if you're liking this or not and interact with us. Chat to us. Say hello. We'll say hello back because we're there as well. And
that's the longest sign-off in history. Well done. Yeah, I'm surprised it was passed out.
Yeah, well, thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators.
Off the Case.